What is up, YouTube? What is up, family? We have another request. And guess what? This American is going to finally understand what is Islam. What do Muslims believe? Now, okay, look, without even listening to the video, I'm going to tell you the crazy stuff that we hear. That this is what we are informed with. Okay, so, and this is why Islam gets a bad rap. I mean, there's no way around saying this. September 11th, terrorist attack on the United States. It wasn't Christians who did it. Okay, it wasn't Jewish people who did it. It wasn't Spanish people, wasn't French people, wasn't people from Greece, from Italy. It was Islam. It was Muslims. Okay, so that's just one thing. Okay, so that just leaves there's just bad blood there. But way before that, that was just like, the icing on the cake. Before that, we are informed with, okay, so if you go out and blow yourself up, that's Islam too. If you go out and blow yourself up and kill as many people as you can, innocent people, along the way, you will die and go to this wonderful place where 72 or 3 or 4, I forgot how many, I'm sorry, I lost track, 70-something virgins are going to just, you're going to be in heaven with 73 virgins or 72 virgins, like, for the rest of eternity. So who wouldn't want to do that, right? Oh my God, if I blow myself up and kill myself, I'll be with 70-something what? Virgins? For eternity? Sounds beautiful, right? And it's all about the beliefs of Muslims, of Islam. Okay? When we heard people, I'm gonna say this wrong, so don't get offended. I can't think of it now, but when we saw the videos of terrorists blowing things up and killing people, the first thing out of their mouth is something Allah Akbar, or something like that. Allah Akbar, or something like that. So us that don't know the true meaning of Islam, that's what's stuck in our head. That's what we think. The West Side. Not everybody. Of course, let me say, I'll be the first to tell you, living right here in New Jersey, one of the most amazing, beautiful people. I mean, I'll even say their first names, Ray and Cindy. They lived 5 minutes from my house, just down the block. We met them one day. We hit it off immediately. Ray, wonderful person. Cindy, beautiful, excellent personality. Always wanted to make us hummus. And she made a damn good hummus. They were Muslims. Fantastic people. So I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, all Muslims are terrible. We all think Muslims are terrorists. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I want you to understand why there's some friction when first thing we think of when we hear Islam and Muslims. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just being totally honest with you guys so you can see the other side of the story, how crazy it is that the way we think. But now I'm going to learn. No problem. Teach me, because obviously I'm not stupid. I know it doesn't mean, oh, Islam? What do Muslims believe? They believe the terrorists and blow and kill all innocent people. No, of course not. That's a group of people, a group of terrorists that make everything look terrible, make all of you look bad because of a group. Okay, so let's check it out.
Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and today we're looking at the religion of Islam.
That's a lot of people.
Like all of my religion overview videos, this is a superficial look intended for people who don't know what Muslims believe or the practices and traditions they participate in.
That's what
To give you
Minnesota
an idea
Vikings
how
play.
popular this religion is, Islam is currently the second largest world religion.
Wait a minute, what the hell? Y'all in Minnesota? Where the Vikings play? You got that many? There's that many Muslims in Minnesota?
Nearly 25% of the world
Wow.
population, second only to the 31% that includes all branches of Christianity, including Catholicism. This 25% is spread out over the world. It may surprise you, the largest Muslim population resides in Indonesia, with over 229 million Muslims living there.
That didn't surprise me.
This is followed by Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nigeria.
See, wow, okay. Pakistan. See, we think Afghanistan. Immediately Afghanistan.
There are countries with a larger percentage of Muslims, like Iran, where 99.4% of the population is Muslim, but those countries are smaller in overall population. Now, time for a preface before we get too far. Like other religions, there are many types of Islam, which have drastically different interpretations of the religion. I'll dive into how these schisms happen later, but just know that some branches of Islam may not agree with everything we're covering here. Like Christianity and its web of denominations, Islam too has many differences across its spectrum. To start the origin story of Islam, we're going to look at the big three Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In an oversimplified timeline, we have the events of the Old Testament. All three of these religions, for the most part, believe in these events. They are the Old Testament in the Bible. The first 5 books are considered the written Torah for Judaism, and Muslims believe that these events were, again, for the most part, true. But these events have been altered or corrupted through changes in their retelling over time. We then have the New Testament, which Christians believe, and again, Muslims, for the most part, agree with. Judaism believes the Messiah has not yet come. So Jesus is essentially a false prophet, while Muslims believe Jesus was a prophet and miracle worker, just not the last prophet. Muslims then have the Quran, which Muslims believe was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad to rectify what they believe is a corruption of the Bible. So as you can see, these three religions do have a significant overlap, but these differences are indeed major differences. Let's go back in time. It's the late 500s in Mecca, what is now Saudi Arabia. Muhammad is born into a poor family. His father passed away before he was born, and he was raised by his mother and then his grandfather. He grew up to become a merchant, and at this time the people there had turned away from the worship of God, the name for which is Allah in Arabic, literally translating as the God, and instead they worshipped idols and a variety of other gods. He was around the age of 40 when Muhammad started to receive revelations from God through the angel Gabriel. He began to share these revelations, though they challenged the status quo, and some individuals in his community saw Muhammad as a threat. Why is that? What did he teach? What revelations were given to him? Let's look at the core beliefs of Islam. Number 1, Muslims believe that there is one God, the same God of Judaism and Christianity, though referred to in the Arabic language as Allah. They also believe that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Number 2, they believe prophets are real. Not only the Prophet Muhammad, but the ones before him, including Jesus and other figures such as David and Moses. While Muhammad is just a man, he is believed to be the role model for which all Muslims should aspire to, as the last prophet. Number 3, Muslims believe in angels as divine messengers of God's word. Number 4, they believe in revelations, things like messages and texts delivered to humans. They believe the Quran is the final and literal word of God as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. Number 5, Muslims believe in the Day of Resurrection, strikingly similar to the Book of Revelations. In an oversimplification, they believe that an Antichrist will eventually be struck down by Jesus returned to earth. Christians might be surprised to hear of the importance of Jesus here. Following this, no one on earth will question God's power, and there will be a time of peace and prosperity. However, slowly this will decline again, leading to a dark time in which the entire world has turned its back on God.
Oh, I think that's 2024. Yeah, it's more or less right now. It's more or less now. More or less. That's why everything's falling apart.
God will then cause the day of judgment, in which all believers will be rewarded with eternal life in paradise.
Oh, God. Oh, eternal life in paradise.
While the unrighteous are punished in hell.
Uh-oh. Go to hell. Oh, snap. You don't want to go to hell.
Although some will serve time for their mistakes and then eventually be entered into heaven, the ones who are truly evil and arrogant will reside there forever.
This is my theory. I'm going to tell you my theory. If you are a bad human being, right? Maybe you murdered people, you did some real bad stuff. You stole, literally stole all the money from the poor just to become rich, and you left everybody with nothing. You know what I mean? Like a real piece of crap. Okay, so what happens is you don't go to hell. You return to earth as a baby. Unfortunately, you forgot what you did in the past. So it's your second chance to get it right now. You know what I'm saying? So you just keep coming back to earth. Because essentially, this planet right here where we live is hell. I mean, think about it. We get up, we go to work, we pay taxes. We do this for about 75, 80% of our life, and then we die. There you go. There's our wonderful life on the planet. See, so when you're bad, God says, oh, you're not coming here. You going to hell. And you're like, oh, man, the devil, fire, fork picks, eternal torture. And he goes, no, not that hell. You going right back to, you going to the worst hell. You going to redo your entire life on that wonderful planet Earth next to your wonderful human beings. That's bad enough, right? That's worse than hell. So that's you'll be the day of resurrection. That's if you're terrible and you should get sent back to Earth. Is my idea a little crazy? No, it really isn't. If you think about it, is this really a great place to be on planet Earth? What the hell are we doing here anyway? Why are we here? If there's a heaven and a hell, why the hell are we in the middle? What are we just slaves to God? He just toying with us? And we're gonna put you on that planet Earth. Good luck. And yeah, we're gonna put you with all religions, which are, by the way, the number one reason for war, religion. And we're just going to put you all together, all different colors, all different religions. We're going to stick you all on the planet Earth. Hey, yeah, go get along. He knew that was a fail. He was like, oh, that's hell, basically. So, because you remember, Adam and, Eve ate the apple. You know what I'm saying? You know that story, right? So, yeah, this is our punishment. Planet Earth. Do you really truly, honestly believe this is the only planet with life on it? Now that we know there's way more than 12 planets, there's 12 billion planets. But the only one with some human life on it is Earth? Y'all believe that? Really? Seriously? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, let's go. It's very interesting so far. No joke. Very, very interesting. I am learning.
Most branches of Islam agree on these core beliefs.
I'm learning.
But let's take a detour and look at the schisms that have broken up the Islamic tradition. It started to divide following the death of Muhammad, who at the end of his life was leading the Muslim people. Who should replace him as their leader? It was more a question of politics, of leadership. One group believed that the leader of their people should be the actual blood lineage of Muhammad. They would become known as the Shiites, or the Shia people. This other group believed that a religious leader, someone moral and pious, should lead. These people became known as the Sunni.
And didn't the Sunni and the Shiites beat the crap out of each other and kill each other for decades? Or I got the wrong people. Anyway, I could have swore that, Anyway, see? They disagree. Two different religions disagree on something. Fight. Just gotta fight. Fight.
The Sunni are the vast majority of Muslims, about 85% of the Muslim population, and they span the entire globe.
I heard that, yep.
The Shia are much, much less in number, also centrally located in the Middle East in places like Iran and Iraq. And then there are other small denominations and even non-denominational Muslims as well. While this schism began as political, they do have some differences in how they practice the faith as well. So let's look at the 5 pillars, which are not so much about what they believe, which we already discussed, but the practices and things that they do to show their faith. The first pillar is the profession of faith, that all Muslims must acknowledge that God is one and there is no other God. They also believe that Muhammad is his servant and messenger.
Okay.
This is incorporated into their second pillar, which is prayer. Muslims pray 5 times a day at strict times, and they have very specific purposes. Wherever they are in the world, Muslims pray facing Mecca. They must perform a ritual wash on themselves before prayer to make themselves pure, and then they follow a set order of positions and prayers.
They got to do that 5 times in one day? They got to clean themselves off and purify themselves? Because as soon, what? So wait a minute. Do they purify themselves once and then they're good to pray for 5 times? Or they got to re-purify 5 times before each prayer? So purify, prayer, purify, prayer, purify, prayer. 5 times a day? Ooh, you guys are busy.
While they can perform this prayer anywhere, Muslims might prefer to pray in a mosque, their place of worship, because it allows for prayer with other individuals and fellowship before and after the prayer. The third pillar is charity, often called almsgiving. Similar to tithing in Christian religions, they may give money to the mosque to help upkeep the place or their services, or for the mosque to distribute to people in need.
Oh, you mean the people in charge of the mosque are not driving Lamborghinis like our churches over here? Oh yeah, because all the pastors and priests and oh yeah, they driving Lamborghinis. They live in mansions. No, oh, you guys don't do that. Oh, that's good. So you do it to help to keep the upkeep on the mosque. Ah, I got you. Okay. Oh, okay. That's good. That's a good thing.
Can also give to those in need directly, as Islam pushes to eliminate wealth inequality. The fourth pillar,
see, that's good. Wealth and equality,
is fasting, revolving around the month called Ramadan.
See, this I'm not down with. No, not for me.
This is the month in which the Quran was revealed to Muhammad. So every year Muslims celebrate by fasting between sunrise and sunset for an entire month.
For 30 days. Oh my God. Seriously, not even a cracker? Nothing? Just water? Damn, I'll be getting drunk every night. Go to sleep drunk out of my mind. This way I don't gotta think about how hungry I am. Ooh, that's tough, man. 30 days in a row. No eating. Ooh, you guys don't play.
The dates of this month change, starting at the first sight of a crescent moon and ending with another crescent moon with a celebration holiday called Eid. While fasting is important during this time, it's also meant as a time to focus more wholeheartedly on things like prayer and charity. The fifth and last major pillar, at least for Sunni Muslims, is the pilgrimage to Mecca. During their life, Muslims are required to make a trip to Mecca during a certain time of the year, as long as they are practically and financially able to do so. All pilgrims wear identical garb to make no class distinction. When in Mecca, there's a series of rituals that one does, where one reenacts the actions of
holy, literal, holy mackerel. Wow. It's a mountain of white. That is wild. I thought they were like, oh my God.
When in Mecca, there's a series of rituals that one does, where one reenacts the actions of Prophet Abraham and his wife Hajar, including praying on official ceremonies and walking on certain paths to literally follow in their footsteps. Muhammad was a direct descendant.
What? Oh my God. Damn. The whole country said, I ain't going to work. I'm not going to my job. It's time to do this. I'm not going to work. That's impressive. That's a lot of people with it. That's unity. That's unity.
Of Abraham from the lineage of Ismail.
Wow.
The Shia have an additional 10 pillars if you're interested in looking them up.
God.
I don't want to go too deep into this, but there have been significant and violent clashes between the Sunni and Shiite.
Told you. See, I might be a stupid American, but I know something. I mean, I do watch the news once in a while.
People, with Saudi Arabia being a significant site for the Sunni people and Iran being significant for the Shiite, these countries and people often might have motive to oust the other. For example, a Shiite group in the nearby country of Yemen overthrew a Sunni government that was in place in 2014. In Syria, a Sunni majority population clashes with a Shiite government. There are, of course, many factors to these conflicts in these countries, and religion isn't the sole reason, but it's notable all the same.
It's part of the reason.
Back to the religion, let's take a look at their holy leaders. Some religions, such as Catholicism, see their holy leaders as intermediaries who help connect their members to God. In Islam, this isn't the case. Individuals can pray and speak directly to God. Their religious leaders are more like teachers and interpreters, helping their members to understand the texts and make wise decisions. One of the most common leaders for Sunni Muslims is the Imam, who is the official that leads prayers and assists the community, often at a mosque. For some Shia Muslims, called Twelvers, Imam is a much rarer title, given to those believed to be chosen by God to be perfect examples and to lead the Muslim people following Muhammad's death. There have been 12 so far, and a 13th who was believed to be currently alive, but they have not appeared yet to lead. Now, only some Shia believe this, not all of them. Going back to Sunni Islam, they don't have the sort of hierarchy that you might see in other Abrahamic religions. There used to be a title called Caliph, given to the supposed successor to Muhammad as the leader of the Muslim community. But there hasn't been a Caliph since the end of World War I and the downfall of the Ottoman Empire. Some militant groups, such as the Islamic State, which we'll discuss later, have referred to their leaders as Caliph and sought to re-establish a caliphate over the Sunni people. Without a central figurehead, there have been many internal and external conflicts for these groups, as they often diverge philosophically on major issues and have no central voice of authority. Without the hierarchy, the Sunnis believe anyone can become leaders by studying the law and theology. Another interesting thing to note is the role of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Muslims do believe that Mary was a virgin and gave birth to Jesus. She is the only woman who has a chapter in the Quran named after her, and she is mentioned more times in the Quran than she is in the entirety of the New Testament.
That's interesting because the way some of these countries treat the women is baffling. Just straight up baffling. So it's odd that they would even respect Mary with that kind of ideology. You know what I mean? Not all Muslims, not all Islam. You know what countries I'm talking about. Women ain't nothing except there to do one thing. Anyway, I didn't know that they believe that, but that a virgin gave birth to. Yeah.
She is mentioned more times in the Quran than she is in the entirety of the New Testament. So she's a very
really
important figure in Islam, and she is considered to be the greatest woman that was ever created. Now might be a good time to discuss the garb that women wear, in case you're unfamiliar. There are minor mentions of wearing a veil in Islamic holy texts, but it never explicitly states how or how much, which is why we'll see such a spectrum of how to cover. The main reason women cover is that God commanded it, though a common consensus more recently is that wearing a veil is a sign of piety, of religious commitment. Wearing it is like an act of virtue with considerable reward. And some believe it's not required at all, so many women of faith don't wear any sort of veil. One of the most common things you'll see is the hijab, a simple headscarf that covers the head and neck. The term hijab doesn't always mean the actual scarf. Its roots come from a meaning of modesty that both men and women are expected to adhere to. This is one of those areas that might drastically differ between individuals and what it looks like for them to wear hijab.
Yeah.
Next, we have the niqab, a covering that covers the entire head and face, though leaves an opening for the eyes. And lastly, we have the burqa, covering the entirety of the body and face and only having a mesh over the eyes. The burqa is incredibly rare, really only prevalent recently in Afghanistan, where it was forced upon women by the extremist Taliban regime.
Yep.
Now that I said the word Taliban, it's time.
That's the people that are killing the name Islam. They're the ones who putting bad reputation out there for you guys. I'm telling you, it's them.
Time to discuss how extremism, terrorism, and the word jihad come into play.
Yes.
In the
explain.
Quran, the word jihad is used to mean struggle. Sometimes its context is internal, a jihad with one's inner demons. Sometimes the context is external, a holy war against unbelievers. It is a complicated term. It doesn't always mean that blood must be spilt. There's a comparison in multiple ways to the term crusade, which is often a cause or struggle, yet also alludes to the Crusades, where soldiers fought to reclaim lands for Christianity and was seen as a holy war of sorts for themselves. The nuance of the word jihad has been lost, as it's often the first evidence given that Islam is a warmongering religion. It means much more than that.
Yeah.
The
see?
other evidence that people cite is the rise of extremism and then terrorism coming from supposedly Muslim groups.
Mm-hmm.
Extremism is rampant in any group. For example, there are extremist Christians who might bomb a Planned Parenthood in the name of their religion.
Mm-hmm.
There are extremists for everything. But the
This is true.
definition of extremism is that those people are wildly on the far end of the spectrum and not typical within the population
ISIS.
at all.
That's another word.
But the problem is that these extremists within the Muslim community have been vocal and dangerous. One of the most notable militant extremist groups is Al-Qaeda and its former leader, Osama bin Laden.
Mm-hmm.
This group believes that a Christian-Jewish alliance is working to destroy Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So they see their right for survival as a truly worthy jihad. Their most famous act of terrorism was the 9/11 attacks on the United States World Trade Center,
Yep.
resulting in nearly 3,000 deaths. This attack triggered a resurgence in anti-Muslim sentiment across the globe and heightened Islamophobia, even though only roughly 40,000 people worldwide are involved with Al-Qaeda, out of Islam's total world population of nearly 2 billion.
Wow.
That would put Al-Qaeda as about 0.002%.
But you see what I mean? 0.002% giving 2 point something billion people a bad rep. It's messed up, isn't it? But yeah, it's true.
Of the Muslim population, meaning that any generalization on such a small percentage would be nonsensical.
Yeah.
More recently, we've
It's
seen
true.
the growth of another extremist group, the Islamic State,
ISIS.
sometimes called ISIS or ISIL or Daesh.
Yeah.
Originally, this group pledged allegiance to Al-Qaeda before becoming its own independent group. They claim that their leader is the caliph of the entire Muslim community, which has made even groups such as Al-Qaeda break ties with them. These militant and dangerous groups do exist, but the larger Muslim community across the entire spectrum of denominations denounce these horrific acts that groups such as Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State commit. Saudi Arabia has denounced these groups completely and classified them as terrorist organizations. Across the board, scholars and leaders have come out to say that these groups are not at all Islamic, instead misunderstanding and misrepresenting the Quran. In India, 70,000 Muslim leaders came together to denounce these groups. There are 60 countries currently waging war with members of the Islamic State. Many of those countries are of a Muslim majority, fighting people within their own borders. The Muslim people have been strongly vocal about these extremist groups and are actively fighting against them. So as we wrap up, hopefully you found this interesting. Islam is a diverse religion spread across the globe with different denominations that believe different things. It's difficult to generalize Muslims considering how diverse they are across this spectrum. If you're a Muslim yourself, let me know if there's anything you disagree with here. And if you're not, hopefully you learned something interesting. I want to thank my Muslim friends and colleagues that proofread this script before it went live, as having perspective from actual followers of the faith is always vitally important. Subscribe for more stuff just like this, and thanks again for watching.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I knew more than I thought, to be honest with you. I see what Indonesia is like. Nobody in Indonesia is planning a terrorist attack on our country. You know what I mean? I understand. But this is what I was telling you guys about. It's that small little percentage. Just like, listen, it happens to it happens to anybody. If you had, all of a sudden, all the gay people in the world started, I don't know, not all of them, just a small amount of them started blowing up buildings. And we're like, who did that? It was some gay people. They blew those buildings up. You know how fast it would be like, all gay people blow buildings up. Hate them all. They should all be dead. They blow buildings up. It'd be like, whoa, relax. It was 3 gay people that did that. Not all gay people. I'm just saying gay because, I don't know, I'm just thinking of something. It could be black people. 2 black people did that. Oh, well, that means all black people. That's what they do. That's what they do. And unfortunately, ISIS and what's the other one? I already forgot. ISIS and Afghanistan's got the well, you know what I mean. It's the other group. Those 2 groups, same thing. It's like, oh, they did what? All Islam is evil. Muslims are evil. Please. You know how many videos I've seen of all they do is smile. Muslims are smiling. They're happy. They're dancing. They love their culture. They love their religion. They don't bother nobody. But it only takes 4 or 5, couple hundred. That's it. That's crazy. To think 40,000 are ruining it for 2-point-something billion people. It's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, I don't agree. I don't know. It's that 40,000 people that I disagree with. Everything about them I disagree. I disagree how they treat women. I disagree how they treat people, like, period. They're just in another world. You know what I'm saying? And I mean world. Anyway, and they ruin it for everybody else. But anyway, bottom line is, plenty of good people out there. 2.2 billion of them. See, that's a lot of people. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, and how dedicated you guys are. It's amazing how dedicated. Religion is something very difficult to talk about, because you could say anything and you will automatically piss somebody off. Automatically. God forbid you say, well, I believe in science. If I can't see the man, then I don't believe in the man. You know what I'm saying? How could we just be the only planet when there's proof that there were dinosaurs before God? So how did the dinosaurs, where the hell they come from? Weren't they life? Dinosaurs were life, but God didn't create. But God creates all life, but He didn't create the dinosaurs. Where the hell they come from? I mean, there's so many questions out there. You know what I mean? Like, both sides can, like, bam, I just gave you a good point. The other side come, bam, I just gave you a good point. Oh shit, that guy's got a point. Well, how about this? Oh damn, that's a good point also. Okay, well, if God exists, then bam. Oh yeah, well, if He don't exist, then bam. And so it's really, at the end of the day, it's whatever you want to believe. You do whatever you want to do. You want to believe, you believe. If you're an atheist, nothing wrong with that. You can be an atheist. You don't have to believe. You want proof? I understand. And if you want to believe, listen, there's 2 ways to believe things, right? Think about it. When you die, you get buried in the ground, and maggots eat you until there ain't nothing but bones. And that's it. It's like when you step on an ant accidentally. Does the ant go to heaven? The ant dies, and that's it. He's gone. You could believe it's the same thing with a human life. When you're dead, you're dead. And that's it. You're dead. You know how many times I know people where their mom or grandmother was so up there, you know what, during their life? Like wherever you turn, there's mom again, looking out for me. There's grandma, there's mom. Mom again. I can't believe mom. Oh, no, yes, mom, I'm fine. Like mom loved the child so much. It was like almost annoying. Like, Ma, could you please back off? The child's 50 years old now. All right, it's not a child no more. And then that mom passes away. The first thing you would think is, oh, she's coming. She's going to talk to her daughter. Oh, absolutely. She's going to communicate somehow, because if I know her and she's up there and she can't at least say 2 words to her daughter, she'll lose her mind. And then you're like, so, it's been what, 20 years? Have you heard anything? Anything? A sign? Anything that where you went, oh, that's my mom speaking to me? No, never. Never heard one person say that. And you think it in your head like, oh, that's my mom. Like, look at that bird outside. That's my mom looking after me. You could believe that if you want. But so the 2 stories are, you die and you dead, or you die and you go to this wonderful place called heaven, where in the clouds you'll meet your grandparents, your parents, your friends. Everybody that you loved is up there having a party, and they're going to welcome you, hug you, and now you're part of the family in heaven. The only problem is how many people have died now since mankind has existed on this planet. You would think heaven is packed. You'd be like, excuse me, I'm looking for my grandmother. Excuse me, because, there'd be like 1 trillion people up in heaven. So you could believe that, or you could believe, well, I'm just dead. You die, and that's it. It's over. It's finished. And if you believe up there, then you have to believe down here. You can't say, oh, that's ridiculous. Hell, you get tortured for the rest of your life, for eternity, where there's fire. I don't believe in that. But I believe in heaven. No, you can't believe in that and not that. So it's very confusing, is what I'm trying to get across. Trying to throw all the points at you from both sides. It could become very confusing. This is why nobody wants to talk about religion or politics, because you end up wanting to kill each other. It starts off with a little argument, and then the argument gets bigger, and before you know it, you're like practically strangling each other. Yes, there's God. No, there's no God. Yes, there's a God. So, interesting topic, huh? A topic that nobody wants to talk about. All right, so there you have it. What is Islam, and what do Muslims believe? It's not terribly different from what a Christian believes. In my opinion, it's not terribly different. I did not even know that they would even consider Mary as being real, but they do. They certainly do. Anyway, good video. Take care, peace out, and be peaceful. Be peaceful. Don't start things. I was going to say things. Don't start things. That's all. Respect each other's beliefs. That's it. If someone says, I don't believe in God, you respect that belief. If someone says, oh, you definitely there's a God, you respect that belief. And guess what? Nobody fights. It's pretty amazing if you think about it. It's that simple. Peace out.